with Copycat Trading, and today is Thursday, January the 11th, 2024, and this is the daily market brief video. I thought I'd get it out just a little bit early today since I got it uploaded so late yesterday. We got about 7 more minutes to go until market close, and so here we are starting off with the spiders. Looks like the spiders had a pretty good down day today after the CPI numbers came out this morning. I had posted a comment in the daily analysis, or excuse me, the market brief video yesterday, but I didn't get it into the actual video that CPI data was coming out this morning at 8:30 Eastern time. And then, of course, it came out before market opened, and then when the market opened, it began a sell-off process. So we opened up right here with just a slight gap higher, and then you can see the sell candles with pretty good volume. We had decent volume before noon today, and the market bottomed out right down here at 472.26, which is right at near these pivot lows right down here. So it found a little bit of support, and then it turned right back around, and the normal market float that we're all so used to kicked in, and it came back up to almost its highs, but it didn't quite make a high. So we're down right now about 0.1%. So unless something happens in the next 5 minutes or so, we'll be down for the day. So that's what it looks like. There hasn't really anything changed as far as the evaluation goes. This is the all-time high right here. That's what it looks like to me that we've got our sights set on, unless some sellers come in and really start pushing the market down. We are going to have higher volume today than what we had yesterday. We're already at 67.8 million, and so we're probably in the day over about 70 to 80 million with the pre and post market. As you can see in the last 10 minutes of the day, usually our volume will spike up, and it hasn't started yet, so we're in the last 5 minutes, so we may see that spike come in while we are discussing this. All right, now, as we look at the Qs, the QQQ had a similar day today. It actually is going to eke out a little bit of a gain, though. We're at 0.16%, and the Qs, of course, have their eyes set on this all-time high coming up here, and that all-time high is about 412.92, and it has just barely peaked above the all-time high that was made back in 2021. And so as we look at that November 2021 peak and all-time high, we've got an all-time high that's just barely peaked above it back in at the beginning of January or end of December, and then we may be having our eyes set on trying to make a greater all-time high. That does not necessarily mean that we are going to new heights. That just means that right now the all-time high is being set in a short term. So it could wind up being a pattern like what was on Bitcoin so many years ago. And we'll say so many years ago, so much time has passed, it seems like years ago. But you can see Bitcoin went up, made an all-time high, came back down, made a new all-time high, and we had a what we call an M pattern, where the second hump here is higher than the all-time high, and then it crashed back down almost 50% or greater than 50% of its value. So we may be looking at something similar on the SPY and on the QQQ. We don't know. If we'll ignore the fundamental side of things and just follow the charts, that will keep us out of trouble considerably. And I'm going to change this over to an arrow. It'll keep us out of trouble considerably. So if you will just ignore all of the hype that's going on out there about all-time highs and et cetera, and just stick with what the charts are telling you, that will help quite a bit in your analysis on a daily basis and finding out where things should be. There comes that volume on the spiders. So we got volume coming up quite a bit on the spiders, and it should top out here right at the end, and we'll see where we wind up for the day. Going to the Russell 2000, with the Russell 2000, we've had a similar day. We also showed a little bit more of a weakness with the Russell. You can see we opened up here and then just flushed down with 3 big candles. I actually played this in a live trade today and made a little bit of money on this one, and then it rebounded up, and I'll be probably issuing that trade as a demonstration trade today, because it was just a little bit different of a technique than I've demonstrated before. And then we also have gold over there, and we're 0.75%, down 0.75% on the IWM. And like I told you, this is making a great big bear flag, it looks like. And if it continues making this bear flag, we might see even lower numbers here on the IWM. As far as gold, not much has changed there. Gold is relatively flat for the day, had a pretty big spike up during the day and then came right back down again. Silver, same story. Silver had a relatively flat day, but we're making lower lows. And like I said yesterday, we did trigger this head and shoulders here, and so we might come on down. You might see those numbers come down, and if we do get down to 19, that's the place where I will be accumulating some silver and maybe start accumulating even at this low pivot down here. All right, natural gas. Wow, natural gas again today. Tried to come up and break through this resistance point, but got slammed back down quite again on heavy volume. And I told you over the last few days that natural gas has been pretty hot, and it needs to consolidate in order to be able to make its next move up. But it looks like its consolidation is going to be a fairly quick consolidation pattern. I wouldn't jump onto it too quickly. Matter of fact, I'm not going to jump onto it very quickly. I still want it to come down, maybe come into this upsloping trend line before I nibble a little bit more and add a little bit to my position. I'm still up about 10% on this trade, but we'll see where it winds up. U.S. oil. Oil is still creating this beautiful bear flag, and it's coming off of a great big down move. This actually was a head and shoulders pattern that you can look at. And if we look and we draw it from here to here, and then the measured move from this actually brought us down right about to the lows, and it has just made this bearish pattern since then. If it comes down and breaks this pattern down here, and I've told you that before, if it breaks down around 64, then boy, we could really see some downside in oil. Probably not down the lows like this. This is actually the lows back in April of 2020. Where everybody thought oil was going to collapse and go away, and of course it didn't. It was everybody's still driving vehicles, but anyway, it went zero and negative here. It'll probably get down around, imagine, the $50 mark, which is a pretty good retrace. If you take a look from the lows to the highs here of what this retrace might look like, right at the 49.53 level here, just a little bit above it, this is 618 retrace. That would probably be a good multi-year buying opportunity. All right, and so as we're going on here, we got Bitcoin. And Bitcoin today, or after hours yesterday, I told you it was going to release those ETFs, and they did. And I've actually got them listed here. We'll take a look at them here in just a minute. But you can see, I told you yesterday it would probably be a sell the news event, and it popped up to almost to 50,000, which is where my top was. I actually took this also on a little bit of a day trade today, and it came right back down in, touched this support level, and I sold it right there as it came back in as well. So Bitcoin did pretty good, made a pretty good run at 50,000, but didn't quite make it up to the 50,000 mark today. And we'll see what happens over the next few days. It's got some consolidation to do probably, but this could be the top for Bitcoin for a little while. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but it could very well be. So here's IBIT, and it's a Bitcoin ETF, ARKB, and then FBTC. And I won't be going through these on a daily basis. I just wanted to show you the three that were issued today, and they began trading this morning. So those are the new Bitcoin ETFs, and everybody's saying it's the hottest thing since sliced bread. And so a lot of people are going to be getting into the Bitcoin ETFs. And what makes those so big is, of course, they are backed by the SEC. And so now the risk is lower. So therefore, a lot of the big players might be getting into these ETFs, which will add to the hype around Bitcoin. All right, here is the SMH, and the SMH has got its eyes probably set on this this high point right here. And if we curl back over, we'll be going to this pivot right here. We got to get through these gaps before we can go any lower. And of course, you got the 50 MA below that, which is going to be weak support since it has come so close to it in the past. So we'll see what happens with the SMH, but usually the semiconductors give us a kind of an indication of whether or not things are doing okay, because they're more of a riskier play. And so as the SMH, if it goes down, then you ought to look for more downside in the actual market. Here is Apple, and Apple still bounced off that 200 MA, and it's still looking good. It's making a nice consolidation pattern, but it could be argued that if you're looking at the weekly chart, not the monthly, the weekly chart, that you're making this inside bar bearish pattern. And on a short-term basis, I would say that's true. But ultimately speaking, I'm kind of looking at it from this perspective where you see this big move up right here, and then all this consolidation was a bull flag happening. So this is a weekly bull flag, and then you notice it started to ramp up and a breakout, and of course then the news came out about their watches, and it looks to me like it's still making a bull flag. And it could be argued that you are still making an in spirit of bull flag right here. oops, let me see if I can draw that right. Could be argued that on a larger time frame, you are still making a bull flag, or in spirit of bull flag, for the Apple chart. But you never know. We'll just have to wait and see exactly what happens here. If the bull flag does play out, things will go up, and that's what I've got actually invested in. I actually have a position in this at the, whenever it hit the 200 MA, so right down in here. And right now I've got a stop set at break even here, so that if it does flush back down, I don't lose anything on that. And then we got Tesla. And, actually, let's look at the upside for that. If we're looking at Apple and the short-term upside, we're talking about this gap right in here. So this gap right here would be our first target, and then of course our first target is going to be this pivot high here, and then the gap. I would venture to say that I'll probably be holding mine at least half the position until I get to this gap right here. And then Tesla. Tesla had still another down day, and it's not looking real healthy for Tesla. Tesla is below its 200-day, it's below its 50, and it's below its 20. That's not good. And so the 20 is starting to curl over, and you've got this downsloping trend line that is hit 1, 2, 3 times, and it's just chopped around here, and now it's below it. This gap right here, let me zoom in a little bit on the chart, will be the next big support line. So I'll highlight that. That's the next big support line for Tesla. And if it gets through that and then breaks these lows down here, then we could be looking for a considerable downside. This is sub 200 right in here. But I would probably start nibbling myself around the 200 and probably the 220. Let's take a look and see what the fib retrace is. I've looked at this before and I got it in my notes, but let's see what it is here. Magnetically snap that. Oop, not that one. Magnetically snap that so that I've got exact accuracy. And I would say that the 618, yep, I'd say 221 is where I'm going to start nibbling, right there at the 618 retrace. And of course the gap fill being just directly above that. That's probably where I'll start nibbling on Tesla for a little bit of a swing position. NVIDIA still strong today and is broken out even higher than that line. Like I told you yesterday, it's like throwing a rock up in the air and you just never know where it's going to stop. Then there's Microsoft, and I brought in Microsoft yesterday or a couple of days ago, and I told you that we look like we're making a great big bull flag and then it's going to break out, and that was right here. And sure enough, yesterday and then today, it actually broke out above that line. Now, we're going to need to make sure that this is a real confirmed breakout, so we're going to need a little bit more confirmation before we start talking about me playing this, but it may come back down. If it goes up and then comes back down, then I might take a position in Microsoft for a move higher, but I still want a confirmation more than just a peekaboo above the line. So we'll just see what happens with Microsoft in there, but it's a beautiful bull flag that's being created there. All right, then we got Meta, which I just want to bring it up because it's been a charging train lately, and there's its all-time highs right there, and it is a strong uptrend. You can see the 20 and the 50 and the 200 all moving up together, and I'm going to take that 200 off of there, but 20 and 50 and the 200 all moving up together, showing us that we have a strong trend, and there's its all-time highs right there. So that's target number one for going up. Number coming down, if we were going to say what the target is going to be for coming down, I would say these high pivot points right in here, and that's going to be your short-term target for coming down if we do come down. Netflix is pushing up, and it is getting close to a pivot top as well, or actually to a gap fill right in here. And I came really close to playing this today, and of course it never made it quite to my number, but it's a strong chart as well. And if it pushes up here, we got the 500 even number, which it hit today and then backed way off, and of course this pivot top. And so Netflix's short-term target is that gap fill, and it may even get higher than that depending upon what the market does. And then the short-term lows will probably be, I'm going to say this, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say these pivots right here would be the target if we started going down, and probably right there at that pivot low, that gap fill right there is probably the target low if it decides to go down. Google, last one of the Magnificent Seven. Google actually got a pop today and then came back in, and it's probably looking for its short-term highs as well, or its long-term highs as well, all-time highs, and it's got its target on that. It's about 151.55, and then if it comes back down, then we're probably talking these pivots right in here for our low target, and that's be our first target down low right there, and that'll probably yield a little bit of a bounce depending upon what the sale volume is on the SPY and the QQQ. All right, that is it. A little bit of a long video today, but I just wanted to update you on what the Bitcoin ETFs are doing, and it'll be a little bit less of a length going forward. Remember, markets will be closed on Monday, so there will be no trading. And tomorrow, there is no more news. And the markets are closed officially as of right now. So let's see where we wound up. We're still a little bit negative on the SPY, down 0.04%. And it looks like we didn't get quite up to the positive territory. Right there's positive territory, and we didn't quite get up there to positive territory. So we officially finished down a little bit negative, but I still think we have a higher high. Yep, we still got a higher high right there, so we are still in good shape. No worries out here as far as what the market is going to do. All right, well, this is Copycat Trader signing off for the evening. I'll get this video uploaded, and then I'll upload some of the or one of the day trades that I did today. Y'all have a great evening, everybody, and I will talk to you tomorrow.